I think did you want me to sit in that chair? Or just sit here?
Yeah, just talk to Elizabeth. Yep.
Oh, well, I remember when I was baptized when I was 8 years old. And I was baptized in the Logan Temple. That's up in one of the temples up in Cache Valley.
In the temple?
Uh-huh.
You were baptized in the temple?
Uh-huh. They used to be able to do that.
Oh, I wish they would do that again.
I think Lynn was baptized in the Manti Temple.
Oh, that's
they don't
special.
Do it so much anymore.
That's special.
But I had never been much in vamp mat and water, so I was scared to death. But I survived.
Did you?
I bet you were never scared.
Did you get into any mischief when you were a little girl like Elizabeth?
Pardon?
Did you get into any mischief when you were a little girl like Elizabeth?
I'm sure I did. I can't remember. When I was 1 year old, we were living in a tent up in the Rocky Mountains. My dad was working way up high there, so I learned how to walk in the dirt floor of a tent. My mother didn't like to be separated from my father, so we'd go live wherever he lived. And if we needed to, we lived in a tent. And I remember one time when I was about 8 years old, we were living in the evening, and she'd say, "Kitty comes to yours house," and my mother let her take the kitty, and she says, "I guess." A while later, she'd come and said, "Kitty comes in yours house?" And she, "Yeah, you can bring it in again." And a little while later, a couple times later, she heard it again. When it was dark, she says, "It's time to get that cat out." And I said, "Cat? There's 4 of them." She would have 4 cats in the house.
That's funny.
And she was blessed. Yeah.
Yep, you were the first great-grandchild.
Yes, sir. She was.
And Amanda was the first grandchild.
Uh-huh.
So
Eileen was her first daughter.
maybe we'll keep it going down the line.
And how's
Eileen was the first daughter? I didn't realize that. Okay, wow, a lot of
Ryan
firsts.
was the oldest, and then Eileen.
So where do you line up in your family?
I'm the second daughter.
Oh, okay.
I have an older receiver, but I've heard people say it was more like diphtheria. But this little rocking horse.
I think back in those days, they grouped a lot of illnesses together.
That could be.
So, and now that we've kind of separated them under the microscope, we can see what's really going on.
Uh-huh.
But what about the rocking horse you were saying?
That belonged to him.
Oh.
So I ended up with this. So now the grandkids, when they're about 2 years old, they enjoy riding on that.
Yeah, I remember Elizabeth riding on that. We've got a video of you riding on that rocking horse.
And did you get to carry it to hold Katie?
Yeah.
And she got blue eyes and blonde hair.
Yeah, well, she doesn't have any hair right now. She's got little tufts around the side, but otherwise she's bald.
I see.
Yeah, she has a little bit of hair like all of
So Katie, if you're watching this video in the future, we're talking about you.
Yes. Isaac is how old?
He just turned 6.
6?
Yeah.
I guess he goes to school then,
Mm-hmm.
or has been.
Yep, yeah, he's been going to kindergarten. Well, he'll go to kindergarten this year.
And then Clark is 3 or 4.
He's almost 3. He's still
Almost
2,
3.
but he's September he'll be 3.
Uh-huh. Oh,
So,
that's
and
great.
he's a firecracker.
And which hurt finger was it you got hurt?
This one. And the song I just played was Movement 3 of Sonata for a Broken Finger.
Mm-hmm. Looks like it's doing pretty good.
Yeah.
So, Elizabeth, did you know that Grandma was alive before television existed? Did you know that? What was that like?
Well, I didn't miss television at all. We used to play games and outside, and sometimes in the darks. We'd play things like anti-over and throw balls over.
Oh yeah, we played that game, didn't we, the other
Played
day?
anti-over.
Yeah, remember at the church with the air guns?
Oh.
Annie over, and then we throw the ball over the church building.
Oh.
You remember that?
Yeah, we just threw it over though.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the rules, but that's how we played it.
A group of our kids, our grandkids came and played it down to Wayne's house. Well, it's been 10, 15 years ago, but I think that's kind of fun. We used to play Run Sheepy Run, and I guess somebody got to be the wolf, and then get to chase after the sheep and catch sheep.
Hey, we had to do that one.
And all some of the kids were the sheep.
I just taught them how to do over the can, or kick the can,
Oh,
and they liked that one. But I hadn't heard of the what is it? Run
Sheepy Run.
Run Sheepy Run.
Mm-hmm. Kick the can, yeah. I don't know the rules of that.
So I've always been curious, as technology kind of advances, we hear about new technologies coming out. When you first heard about television, and how was it to imagine the concept of images coming across the airwaves, or coming into your living room? Do you remember what that was like?
Well, that was a really remarkable thing. I don't remember too much about it. But I think we have had, this is our third television, so they lasted pretty good.
Third television, nice.
Yeah, in fact, radio was really coming out or new when I was growing up.
Oh, really? Okay, well.
They would have radio programs, and we had heaters. Do you remember those old metal heaters? We would put our feet up on
the radiator
metal
heaters
and listen to radio at night. Do our handwork our mother had us do.
Oh, wow.
And they had the outhouses. Do you know what an outhouse is? And we lived in South Dakota and had an outhouse, and all the time we would travel down this way, and we stopped at a little cabin, or what do you call a motel, and it had a flushing toilet in it.
I'll bet that was something.
And every few or 3 minutes she'd run and flush the toilet again, because she'd never seen that.
Just because she could.
So I'm kind of ancient. I kind of know the old.
It's fun, though.
radio
It's fun
stuff.
talking to people that... Because my grandmother went to school with Philo T. Farnsworth, the inventor of television.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's...
I don't know if she went to school with him, or she went to... something like that. I can't remember the exact story. Like, they weren't buddies and pals or anything like that. But
she knew who he was.
yeah, so they I mean, they grew up in the same school system, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really interesting. Elizabeth, do you have any questions for Grandma?
We had some ancestors that grew up in Wales, and some that grew up in England, and some grew up in Scotland, too, so I guess they'd be in your...
So how far removed are you from the migration from Denmark?
Great-grandparents.
Okay. So their children. No, them.
Their son was my grandfather.
Okay.
J.J. Larson. His name was Joseph Larson. They named their son Hiram, Lorenzo, and Joseph. So that's kind of an indication
that's cool.
they belonged to the church.
Yeah.
And then my grandfather always complained that he didn't have a middle name like the others did. So she said he could be named after his young son, her young brother that died on the ocean on the way over. And his name was Yeppe. And so they always called my grandfather J.J. Larson.
Oh, that's Yeppe with the J.
Joseph Yeppe.
Yeppe, that's kind of a cool name. I like that. Yeppe. And
I
Yeppe
think-
died on the crossing.
He died on the ocean on
Right.
the way over. He was buried at sea.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeppa. That's kind of a cool name.
And then Lynn's family came from Norway, and they always tell, when he was on Samoa, for some reason or other, he spelled his name S-E-N, Nielsen, because he said that's the way it was spelled in Norway, which is true. But his grandfather's trunk says spelled it Nilsen, but those day and age you spelled it whatever way you wanted. But now it's spelled Nielson, because the postmaster says if you don't spell it that way, you don't get your mail.
Isn't that funny how our names change?
Yeah. And I got something for you guys to keep.
Yeah.
But we always was bragging one day when they saying that they never got anybody got hurt with the knives, and that they brought in one little girl that got her foot cut with the knives, so they had to take her to the doctor and get stitches. This is the little boat they used in Samoa. They would ride in those. I don't remember who gave me that.
That looks like the boat from Moana.
The what?
The boat from Moana.
Oh, yes.
Have you seen that,
would
Grandma?
Be the same boat.
Did you watch that?
Yeah, I think I've seen Moana.
Yeah, that was a pretty cute one.
And this is a little kava bowl. They had big ones, great big ones, and they would mix the drinks in that, and then everybody would get a taste. This one came from Japan. My daughter Karen served a mission in Japan. Yeah, I lived over in 9 or 10 different states when I was just growing up, and I've been in this one spot for the last 60 years.
60 years.
And this is another
twice as old as I
picture
am.
like my dad painted right here on the other side of the chimney.
Oh, your dad painted that?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I think I remember you telling me that.